Hi, welcome back. I'm Joe. This is the Ultimate Love Letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Not rushing the journey, because we do have some place to be, and only rushing the journey will cause us to stumble, to have to repeat steps that we've already taken. We don't have that kind of time. We have the power to elevate, to excel, to go further faster. However, it's going to take us not rushing the journey. Allow me to explain. When we are rushing to get to a destination, then what we are simply saying in that very thought of trying to rush the destination, we are not allowing God to move in the journey. Both of them cannot exist. When we are rushing the journey, what we are essentially saying underneath that is, I need to get there because here is not where I want to be. I need to get there so I don't trust God to work in the middle to get me there. No, I can get me there. I need to rush past these moments, rush past the present to get to the final destination. Well, I'm here to tell you, if we are doing that, you are only fooling yourself. You are only stunting your growth. You are destined to be slowed down. You are destined to waste time, because God will not let you get ahead of where He is saying we need to slow down and go through these moments. We need to slow down and allow me to build the character. We need to slow down and enjoy the present. You're only fooling yourself. God will not allow it. I am inspired by a family member who is going through this very moment, if you will, in their life. Allow me to share this story so that perhaps we can see if this is in our own life. And if it's not in our life, then allow this story to inspire you, encourage you to what not to do. I have a family member who recently went through a divorce. And the divorce, or the union, produced 2 children. And now my family member was not happy in the marriage for some time. They had 1 child. He was not happy in the marriage. And so he knew, he needed to unravel it. He knew that he was worthy of having a marriage and a union and a life that is fulfilling, that is blissful. He understood that. So before he could make a move to dissolve the marriage, they found out they were expecting their 2nd child. So he decided, you know what, I'm going to stay in this marriage. Hopefully things will turn for the better. Hopefully. They welcomed the 2nd baby. And before they knew it, of course, because the foundation was built on sand, sadly to say, it began to crumble. And so it came to a point where the marriage did end. So as soon as that marriage ended, my family member met another woman almost immediately after the dissolution of the marriage. And what did they do? Again, trying to rush to a destination, they quickly married the 2nd person that they met. And no sooner did the ink dry on that marriage certificate were they welcoming their 1st child. And all the while, I'm just looking at this train wreck, which I just know in my spirit, because I know that what was happening is he was rushing to a destination where he thought would be sustaining, right? But I know there was no pause for God to work. You weren't simply being where you're at right now, which is in a divorce, now having to deal with co-parenting, not keeping your options open to something that you perhaps hadn't done, which is date around for a while, get to know people, get to know several people. But no, in came a new love. And so that's my new love. That's it. That's all. End of story. I'm going to wrap this up tightly with a bow, and we're going to go through life. And this is my happily ever after. We wish it would come that easy. We wish. It never does. It rarely does. Let me say this. I never blanket anything. It rarely does. But I will say this. It never does when we are leaving God out of the equation, So as quickly as he ended one marriage and jumped into another and then began to have children, did God show him, okay, as quickly as you try to get to the destination, I will just as quickly unravel this situation, right? God is always showing us what we are doing on the inside, what we are doing with our relationship with him. He will show it on the outside. So if you're quickly hurrying, try to get to a destination and wrapping up marriages and homes and children's and all the things, if it is out of God's union, then he will just come right behind you as quickly as you built it up. He will come and quickly tear it down. Because he's showing you, you're moving faster. You're moving fast. I can move faster. If you want to go slow and you want to involve me, then beautiful. I will show you. It's magical. The slowest, softest life, but I will speed up the incoming of what you want to see happen in your life anyway. It's kind of gnarly, but it's what God says. God says that he will bring things into our life speedily, but at a slow pace. I can't explain it. Only those who experience this can speak to it. It's like you're doing less, but you're achieving more. It's crazy. You live a slow, peaceful, grand life, savoring the moments that God is blessing you with, because all we have is this moment. And as you are just slowly savoring this moment, when you look up, the blessings and all that you really want is rapidly coming to you at a quick pace. And you're not doing anything but savoring this moment. But if you are hell-bent on skipping over this moment, God, because he loves you, is trying to show you that all we have in this moment. So as quickly as you're exerting your energy to get there, God is tearing there down to bring you back to this moment, because he wants to show you something in this moment. When will we learn? When will you learn? So yes, my beautiful family member who found himself in a beautiful new marriage with a beautiful new child, wouldn't you know it? God is beautifully unraveling that union. It's gnarly to see. It's heartbreaking to see. But those of us who understand how God works understands that this can only be the outcome, because God wants to show you something. He wants to show you that you will not leave him out of the process and think you're going to have a fulfilling life. You can leave him out of the process, but life will be painful. Life will continue to be misaligned. You will continue to exert your energy. You will continue to spill and waste your years, but nothing's wasted. Never, ever. That's not a great way of saying it, but you will continue to just go through the years wondering why you keep ending up at the start button or at the starting point. You look up and it's been 5 years of you striving to figure it out on your own, but all it produced was heartbreak, financial burdens, pain, lessons that repeated themselves, and here you are again at the starting line. Wow. Congratulations. It's all because you left out one powerful, prominent ingredient, and that is God. You left him out of it. He ain't gonna let you go far. Nope. That cord is drawing you back to him. He is always drawing you back to him because he loves you that much. You're gonna inflict pain on yourself because you're trying to leave the Creator out of it. So, my beautiful family, although that the first divorce is finalized and everything was finalized with those 2 children, he has found himself in a situation where now he is still reevaluating and reexamining and in a battle with figuring out what the co-parent will look like with the first 2 children because of the first divorce. And here he is. He thought he was at his happily ever after with the second divorce. And as he's figuring out still the ramifications of the first divorce, in comes what looks like, can't get ahead of ourselves, but what looks like will soon be a second divorce. And what's gnarly, talk about how history just repeats itself completely, is they have just found out they are expecting their second baby in the second marriage. Wow. History is almost identical. It repeated. Almost identical. You had a first marriage. You had 1 child in the first marriage. You thought you were going to exit. You should have probably exited, maybe, perhaps at that point, but you didn't because you found out you were expecting. So then you stayed. But then, of course, that marriage unraveled. You speedily went ahead and jumped into another marriage, quickly had another baby, and now as that marriage looks like it's unraveling, you find out you're having another baby. History is identical. It has repeated itself. Why? Because you didn't learn the lesson the first time. And if you don't learn the lesson this time and you continue to do the same thing again tomorrow, history will repeat itself almost identically again. History is only showing us where we've learned and where we've healed. Where we've learned, you're going to see blessings. You're going to see yourself being catapulted into greatness. You're going to see the alignments that came by way of the lessons that you learned. If we do not learn those lessons, on the other hand, you're going to see a repeat of those lessons. It's going to look like heartbreak. It's going to look like pain. It's going to look like energy spent. It's going to look like money spent. And it's going to look like you starting again at the starting line. The choice is always ours. We have to ask ourselves, what do we want to see in the future? Who do we want to become? What do we want to have? Then ask God to come into that and guide you to that place. Surrendering your life to God may look like you're giving up everything, but really you are giving it to the Creator who has created everything fabulous and perfectly. And you're saying, God, I want a fabulous and perfect life. You know, it will never be perfect, but you get the gist. I want a beautiful, peaceful, blissful life. I want to go far. Only you can design it in the most perfect way. I give it to you. I want to get out of my own way. And as you give it to Him, He is going to slow down time. He is going to infuse you with a soft life. He is going to cause every moment to become saturated in love and adventure and nirvana. And as you're simply living those blissful moments, what you will find is nothing is missing. So you're no longer looking for the marriage. You're no longer looking for an end result. You're hoping it never ends. You're loving and living this journey and this adventurous life, and you're thinking, God, I can't see what you got tomorrow. Today is incredible. My month has been explosive. I see kind of where you're going with this. And I know it's only going to get better because I am yielding to your way in my life, and your way in my life is blowing my mind. I don't need anything else but more of your way in my life. And then from that space, because you know how good God is, He gonna bring you your happily ever after. But you're no longer worried when that's going to happen. You no longer go to the bars and the clubs and the places and look around to who's there because you're looking for your forever man, your forever woman. You're simply walking into the room wondering, God, what are you about to show me in this room? And before you know it, when you least expect it, somebody will be knocking at your door, and it will be the right person. It will be the right opportunity. It will be the right love that will show you a reflection of all the healing that you have done. That will be a reflection of your allowing God to guide your life, of your surrender to God. You ain't got to go looking. You ain't got to go on Tinder or Facebook dating or Bumble or wherever the dating apps. You don't need to go outside of yourself looking for the one. God gonna bring you the one. God gonna wake you up one day and say, I got somebody I want to put you on. I got somebody I want you to meet. Quit trying to get there on your own strength. It sucks doing things on your own strength. It rarely works. And that doesn't resonate. It never works. You may see people been married forever and they've gone to the grave, and it looks like to us like, okay, this person didn't rely on God, and they had a marriage that lasted 60 years, and then he died and she died, and they went to the grave in this marriage. But we don't know the ins and outs. We don't know who sacrificed what. We don't know how far each individual, when they're leaving God out of it, or I'll say this, when they're bringing God in it, we don't know how each individual would have went further. We don't know the bliss and the happiness that possibly was missing from the union, but they just stayed in the union. We don't know this. But what I do know is true. If God was not in that marriage, in that union, then it was not as blissful as it was meant to be. I don't care what it looks like. But when we assert God in the middle of it, when we say, God, no, you bring me to everything and everyone you want me to be, not only will He bring it, but the journey to get there will be the best part. Only God has the power to do that. So what I see for my beautiful family that is just going through, what looks like an unraveling of this new marriage that was built on sand, I see how He is still organizing what co-parenting will look like the first two children, and it is on track to, as soon as He figures out and finalizes what it looks like with the first two children as far as visitation and how co-parenting is going to look for the next 10 years, He will most likely be catapulted into figuring out what the next co-parenting will look like for the next two kids. All because we left God out of it. All because we were trying to do things on our own strength. All because we were so in a rush to get to a destination. And as soon as you got to that destination, God said, let me show you something. We're about to crumble all this down. All this that you built up on sand, thinking it was going to go the test of the time, all that's about to come down. And you are about to repeat the most painful, energy-sucking, financial throwing away of money again. You about to do it one more again until you get this lesson. Perhaps you will learn this time. And speaking to my family, he's getting the message. So that's the beautiful thing. He's like, yeah, I see where I went wrong, and I will never repeat this again. God bless you. Only took you 2 marriages and what looks like about to be 4 kids, but it's never too late to learn the lesson. We up from here, but we can avoid the pain and the heartache when we just insert God from the very beginning. Slow down. There's no destination to reach. Everywhere you want to be in the future, God knows. He wants to give it to you. He wants to give it to you magically and softly and reveringly. He wants to make it better than you see in your mind. Only He can do it. And He will do it when we allow Him to take the reins of our life. Get out of your own way. Perhaps we are going nowhere fast. God can slow it down, and He can make it to where you're not doing anything but yielding to Him. And yet you look up and opportunities, people, places, things, money, energy, love, reverence is just rushing towards you. I am living proof that is biblical. God has told no lies. Thank you so much for joining this combo. I want to encourage you, if you haven't done so yet, I have a new book, Fake Ass Vegan, a book on balance. Thank you to everyone who has purchased it and who has messaged me. I must say, this is a book on balance. It is probably not what you're thinking it's about, although it is a balance. And so I encourage you, if you have purchased it, I want to hear what you think. I want to know what you think about the plot twists and the ups and the downs and how I wrapped it up. I want to hear your dialogue. If you've purchased it, please go back to Amazon and review it. I want to hear all about it. Also, please check out our shop, tull.shop, which has all our merchandise for the Ultimate Love Letter and our World Treasure collection, where I have selected a couple limited pieces that I've collected from around the world, and I've added them in a shop for you. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again soon. Bye for now.